that too high?
I know, Brian, I need a booster seat, as he always says. Good evening, everybody. I'm here, I'm honored to present the next award, the Golden Driller Award, to a colleague, a mentor, and a close friend of mine. The Golden Driller Award is a very prestigious award also, given to an individual that's been in the drilling industry for 25 years. He's been an NDA member for 10 years or more, and he's also given the industry contribution to our industry that's met high standards and what the industry represents. There's only been two past recipients of this award, Harley Corbin and Steve Perizano. It's been said of this year's recipient that he has, for some time and continues to be, and put his whole heart and soul into the NDA along with the drilling industry. He was employed by Consolidation Coal Company for 11 years. I think he started as a engineer's aide, a driller helper, and then became a driller. After that, he went to CME Central Mining as a field representative, that he spent 34 years there before retiring last year. At CME, he was involved in product development, testing, and selling drill rigs, and selling drilling equipment. Now, he retired in 2021. I don't know what your idea of retirement is, but he drives a truck 30 hours a week, part-time. I think he does some consulting on the side, or what he says. He maintains 90 acres of property. He's restoring a car. And sometimes he has time to go play golf once in a while. It's not my ideal retirement, but that's his. He's been a member of the NDA since the early 80s. And he probably is one of the only ones that I know can brag that he's been to every NDA convention since he's been a member. And since he's been a member, he's been on various committees, various chapters, and has been on the board of director for I don't know how long when he was in there. But the biggest thing is he has been the convention committee chair since 2008. And I've said when I was president that each year, each convention gets better. They raise the bar, he drives the committee to get better each year. And as you can see, this 50th anniversary is one of the best conventions I've been to since I've been involved. And he obviously has done a good job doing that. He's inspired, directed, and led the convention committee to, I don't know how much, since 2008. We're very grateful for his commitment, his leadership, his dedication and contribution to the NDA and the drilling industry. And I'm honored to give the third Golden Driller Award to Rick Hutchings.
What series is that bid?
Go buy a new one.
It's the Golden Series.
Wow. You know, what a great pleasure and honor it is to be here with my colleagues for a long time, you know, and you know, like JJ, you know, I grew up doing operating equipment. You know, before I was driving, you know, at 10 or 12 years old, I was operating equipment. And my parents raised me examples, and tried to inspire me to have some common sense. My mother was key on that, because she had an oak, I'm sure it was an oak board. And this board was about 2 inches wide, about an inch thick, and about 16 inches long. And when she thought I wasn't showing common sense, she let me know that. And parts of my body would can tell you about that. But it was important to them to do that. And I can tell you this, that board was very well worn. Not only with me, but my 5 older siblings. So she knew how to inspire that. But when I started my career with Consol, and it was I was fortunate to have a lot of good friends, a lot of people that helped me. A guy by the name of Jim Murray was the chief engineer at Consol, and I was down in the drafting office for a few months, and he knew I was an operator by heart. And so he came down and said, "Hey, we're starting up a soils drill, and I'd like you to be part of that." So I accepted that, and that was a big step. The first week I worked on the soils drill, we drilled 96 hours in Canton, Illinois, and I didn't know what I was getting into, but it was good work. It was hard work. But I will tell you this, Jim was a big part of my career start. Then a guy by the name of, and Mike, you probably remember this gentleman, a guy that was part of the early stages of NDA, became my supervisor a couple years after I started drilling. A guy by the name of Jim White. And Jim was part of the early years of NDA. And when he moved to Illinois and became my supervisor, he would share some of those stories about this organization in Pittsburgh and how it was. And it's funny how things come around in cycles. Jim was a big part of what my career and how it advanced. In 1984, when Consol discontinued their in-house drilling operation, Jim took the 4 drillers that were left and his resume to Central Mining Equipment Company and gave them to Charlie Rasher. And I don't know why or how, but Charlie picked my resume out of that stack. And I thank Jim White for that. It's a big part of it. At CME, it was great. I was a young 30-year-old driller that thought I knew how to drill. But I figured out real fast that coast to coast, I didn't know what I was doing. So many good people, so many good drillers. This award is really special because it means a lot to me, because I know and I've been around so many of those good drillers, and that's what this industry is all about, is those people that are out there in the field sweating their butt off. And it's very important to me that they're represented and acknowledged. Charlie Rasher was my next influential person that took me under his wing. And Charlie, those of you who knew Charlie Rasher knew that he was extremely special, very intelligent. He graduated from, one of the Ivy League schools, top of his class in engineering, had multiple patents. And when he interviewed me for the job, I can tell you it was September the 13th, 1984. And how I know that, it was my 4th wedding anniversary. And so they told me to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning, which I showed up at 10 o'clock at CME. And Charlie wasn't there yet. He normally didn't get there until about 11:30. And Charlie you know, Gene Anderson took me around and introduced me to all the salespeople, Al Henry and Richard Gotch and all the people, Roger Eisler, you know, all those good, great people. And Charlie showed up at about 11 o'clock, and we went to lunch, and Gene and I and Charlie, and then right after lunch, he started the interview process, which was longer than what I expected. At about 8 o'clock that night, I called my wife and said, honey, I'm gonna be a little later. Went to dinner with Charlie that night. I got home, or I left CME at about 1:30 in the morning. That's Charlie Rasher. That's the passion that Charlie Rasher had for this industry. And some of that, little bit of that rubbed off on me. And I can thank Charlie for that passion that I have, and multiple people in this room, I think, can say the same thing. When I started CME, they were developing the automatic hammer. You know, I was very fortunate to be part of that, and it was a lot of fun to work with Charlie Riggs and other people to do that. And now, how many drills in the industry have automatic hammers on them? That's amazing that, you know, that in 1984, that's when it started. And not necessarily all about me, but I was the guy that was on the step ladder when Charlie Riggs was telling me to cut the string so he could measure the energy. So I wasn't really a big part of that, other than they designed it and I kind of did a little bit of part of it. But it was Charlie that inspired so many people. All the people and the family of CME was very, very influential in me and my career, and I want to thank them for that. Charlie passed away in 1984, I think. 94, I'm sorry. And that was a big boy. But his wife, Roberta Rasher, continued on, still to this day owns the company, and I thank her for continuing that legacy with CME. I thank, you know, Dave Nybert and all the guys at CME for their support through the years, Rick Spillers and all the salespeople, that many of them are here in this room, that were just great people to work for and with. So I enjoyed it. My passion grew over the years, and I enjoyed it. When it came to NDA, my next part of my career, 1984, when I started, Charlie got me right involved with NDA, and that year he was starting to help write the driller safety manual. And he had me many nights there till 2 o'clock in the morning talk about every word in that manual and trying to get a driller's perspective of did it make sense or not. And that's what Charlie did. So it was neat to be part of NDA in the mid-80s there. You know, I love all the people I've worked with NDA. And I certainly love being part of all of the shows. Since 1984, I've been to every one that I can remember. So I enjoy that. I do want to thank Sam Connolly, the board of directors, Mick Willie, of course, and all the people at NDA as part of it. Charlie Rasher told me one time when I was interviewing, he says, I said, Charlie, I said, I'm not a salesperson. He said, Rick, you don't have to be a salesperson, you just have to be their friend. And today I'm standing in a group of what I call friends, and I appreciate that. So thank you for the award, thank you for everything you've done in my career, and thank you for the you know, great honor that you've bestowed on me. I appreciate it. Thank you.